Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do. Actually, today, this morning anyway, I guess it stands for, you did it. I don't know. I don't have that quick a mind, apparently, to come up with a new piece of alliteration. Anyway, the point is there's no plan for this stream. There's not a thing you got to do. Why? It's just the news. We're starting it off today. We're still going to do our 8 p.m. stream. Of course, we got plenty you can do. But there are so many developments. I just thought I'd come on and tell y'all a little bit about what happened overnight. And it took all of my strength not to play Living in America from Rocky and get on here with the Apollo Creed outfit and the Uncle Sam Stars and Stripes hat and just dance around. You want to know why I'm so gosh darned happy? We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, we do have an even more recent piece of breaking news. Apparently, Zoe's a good girl. Yes, she is. Zoe's a good girl. All right. Now, the second most piece of breaking news I'm going to let Rachel Maddow tell you about. Here it is.
I'm going to interject here for a second, and I'm actually sort of calling an audible here. I need to speak to the control room and ask you, live on TV, can I report this breaking news? All right. NBC News has breaking news, which I can now bring to you. I'm sorry I needed to confirm that. If the answer had been no, that would have been a real cliffhanger. NBC News is projected a result in the very important Wisconsin Supreme Court election tonight. Janet Protasiewicz is the more liberal of the two candidates. Dan Kelly, the more conservative of the two candidates. This is considered broadly to be the most important election in the country, the most consequential election in the country in the year 2023. As you see with these elections here, the projected winner is Janet Protasiewicz, the more liberal of the two judicial candidates.
Living in America. Yeah. Wisconsin. God damn. Well done. Why am I spoiling this? Hold on now. Judge Janet. Whoopsie. Judge Janet. My word. Great job, Wisconsin. Great job, Wisconsin. Good God almighty. That's a big W. That is a big W. I'm going to buy so much gosh darn cheese. Well done. In the later show, we're going to talk about this because it's so nice. We're going to talk about it twice. But I just want to say a couple of things. This is a massive deal down the line, as well as for some immediate decisions coming up. It's conceivable that we could have Wisconsin fairly districted. We could have fair districts in Wisconsin by the next election. Now, there is going to be some what you can do on that. Let's just take a moment to enjoy this. Goddamn, Wisconsin, you did it. Had somebody in the community tab talking about going out and voting. Oh, what the hell. I'm going to let this keep playing. Y'all, it's a good morning.
Candidates here. This has very big consequences for Wisconsin and indeed for the country. I will just point out a couple of things here. This may very well mean that there is a deciding vote in the Wisconsin Supreme Court that results in abortion being legal in Wisconsin instead of illegal. It also means that Wisconsin, which is arguably the most gerrymandered state in the country, may finally get what are considered to be fair maps rather than radical Republican maps. I will also say that the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the one Supreme Court in the nation that agreed to hear Donald Trump's challenges to the 2020 election, and it was only by one vote that they refused his demand to throw out hundreds of thousands of votes in Democratic cities in Wisconsin, thereby giving him that state's election result when he had not, in fact, won it. And now the majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, for the first time in more than a decade, will flip from hard right conservative control to progressive control. That is a huge deal in Wisconsin.
Especially on the maps front. Look what happened over in Michigan when they started using actually representative maps. Same thing might happen in this great state of Wisconsin, which would dramatically change the makeup of.
Living in America. Yes, it surely did happen in Michigan. Oh, my gosh. All right. Second of all, look at that lineup that was on MSNBC last night. That's a hell of a... They had their big guns out. Good Lord. Yeah, that is what happened in Michigan. And... that old man voice. There we go. That is what happened in Michigan. And it started very much like Wisconsin, with a chain of consequences from gerrymandering, pissing off the general population. Wisconsin could have an extraordinarily bright future. It's just right now, democracy in the state has been secured. Right there, we got a big fat W. Truth be told, I've been optimistic about 2024. I didn't feel easy. Like, I didn't feel relaxed genuinely in my soul until this decision, until this vote last night came in. Now, oh, baby, we're going to be like the cat that caught the canary. I mean, we're just going to have a Bugs Bunny mentality because we are going to win. We're going to win. The struggle for democracy, the struggle for equality, of equal justice, equality between the classes, we're going to win. Not going to be an easy fight, but obviously we have the temperament for the fight. We have the will. We've demonstrated that. And now, as of Wisconsin, we have the means. We're going to go into more of this later, even in this segment, and then later in the day as well. Let's just bask it in for a moment. Let's just bask in it. There we go. Soak it in, bask in it for a moment. Hey, there we go.
Right now, Wisconsin, I mean, forgive me, you know this better than I do, Alex, but Wisconsin, in terms of the popular votes, roughly 50-50 Democratic and Republican. But if the population in Wisconsin votes that way, what they get, because their maps are so crazy, is basically a 2/3, 1/3 Republican majority, both in their state legislature, but also in their congressional delegation. And so if Wisconsin gets fair maps that actually represent the way people vote in Wisconsin, it could flip multiple seats in Congress.
That's right.
It could flip control of Congress simply by this one result in this one Supreme Court state in this one election in Wisconsin tonight.
And that basically happened in Florida, right? In the other direction. Yes. Illegal maps were used essentially to flip the Congress to the Republicans.
Let me jump in here. Sorrel K, you just helped win a big one for democracy. We're bringing back the WYCD Community Member of the Day. Sorrel K, it's you. You're the wicked citizen of the day. Hell yes. Great vote. Let's keep her going.
Maps matter. In short, the maps matter. And by the way, it's nice that this is, national breaking news, because there was a moment 10, 15 years ago when people were not tuned into why these things matter. And now the country, I think, has really woken up.
Yes, they surely have. And I do just want to stress the great irony that we have Donald Trump largely responsible for that, for doing such a dangerously bad job in politics that we had no choice but to develop an interest in it. Alex looks how I feel right now.
is turning out. That's a big margin. I think it was 14 points. I don't want to say that officially.
I mean, it's not, we're not at the end of it, but she is the projected winner.
And that abortion in Roe is not this flash in the pan issue that waxed and waned when the opinion leaked, that it is an enduring fracture, that a majority of Americans still have that front of mind when they make decisions about who should win elections.
And I would argue that Democrats need to rethink everything that they understood about politics from the 1990s. Guns and abortion are the issues that are probably the two most powerful electoral issues. And if you don't believe that, look at what happened in the 2020 midterms when abortion, I still believe, and will fight me, I believe abortion was the deciding factor in that election.
Listen to this gal. She's right. When people complain about, oh, we have too many old politicians, it gets under my skin because I feel like they don't understand the core of that argument. And in fact, I feel like different people are having different arguments and one of them's bad. I don't actually care what somebody's age is. I care about how long they've been a politician. And being a politician for a long time is not disqualifying if they've had good politics. But largely speaking, the beef I have with the old guard of politicians that we currently have is that they've been bad politicians for a long time. And it used to be that they were politicians when you could be a bad politician and get elected. In fact, when being a bad politician was more likely to get you elected. Obviously, we define bad then not as your ability to get elected or not, but as your ability to govern effectively. Well, it used to be that incompetence was the way to succeed. They pushed ahead. Democrats were prized. They were most prized for their ability to closely lose fights. Now people are paying attention. That ain't so. We want those W's, and baby, we're getting them. Let's let Joy Reid and the team finish it off.
And if you look at Tennessee, the next abortion level issue is guns.
That's a hell of a tune. Franny P says, yo, here we come. Americans taking our country back. Absolutely, Franny P. That is quite correct. We surely are. By the way, folks, if you would like to increase the number of people, good Lord, that's why I don't do morning streams as often. Yes, we're calling 11 o'clock streams morning streams. Shut up. If you want more people helping you out in these fights, if you want these little schemes we come up with to be more and more effective, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. We're building a team here. We are going to do stuff to affect all of America, all of the world if we can, but specifically the 2024 election. That's our target. Let's build up as much strength as we can. Make this stream popular. You know how the internet works. Do the things. Do the things. We're gathering a wicked team. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, as fun as that was, and by the way, we got great news out of Chicago too. I'm just going to tell you later on. Later in the stream, we're going to go over the arraignment. We're going to go over a massive win in Chicago. And we've got some what you can do type stuff that I think people are going to be surprised by at first and then wonder why nobody's ever done this. I'm looking forward to it. But first, got some real disturbing developments in the Roy McGrath case. If you're not familiar, pull this up. Over in Tennessee, Roy McGrath, the Maryland governor's former chief of staff, was killed after an agent-involved shooting. Fun fact, in the news industry, police will often send us a press release about an officer-involved shooting, and you can tell who's a skilled newsman and who's not based on whether or not they accept that phrasing. The reason why is an officer-involved shooting, or in this case, an agent-involved shooting. That phrase really removes responsibility. Now, for the record, this Roy McGrath character sounds like scum of the earth. Sounds like a genuinely bad human being, based on what I've heard. He also sounds like he's done nothing that's worthy of getting killed over. In general, I am not in favor with people who are carrying a badge in my name, killing people. I give no one permission to take a life. How about that? I give no one permission to do so in my name. Let's have a look at some local reporting to tell us about it. I don't think the local reporting is great in terms of how they phrase it, but I still overall like the report because they had some details that even CBS didn't have.
Yeah, that's right. And McGrath's attorney is confirming his death to 11 News. This comes just 3 weeks to the day that McGrath was supposed to show up here at District Court in Baltimore for the start of his federal fraud trial. Now, the FBI says that at around 6:30 tonight, agents tracked him to the outskirts of Knoxville, Tennessee, in a commercial area off the Kingston Pike heading south. And that's where the FBI says McGrath was hurt in a shooting involving one of their agents. Now, his attorney, Joe Murtha, is confirming that he died after that shooting, telling us, quote, the loss of...
Okay, he was hurt in a shooting. And he died following that shooting. That's weak. That's weak sauce, and we got to call this out. This is a good example of bad reporting. And by the way, don't be too hard on this kid. At the level he's at, go back for a second. I feel like people should be more familiar with how the local news works. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this right here.
Yeah, that's right. And McGrath's attorney is confirming his death to 11 News.
I'm standing, and now I walk to the side. And the cameraman zooms in on a location. I'll tell you this. The fact that he has a cameraman, or person, or whatever, and didn't just have to set that shot up himself, says that he's from a big local station. But I'm just sympathetic. Is all I'm saying. I've seen that many times, and I've also... I know what kind of schedule he's under. That guy rolled into work. They said, you're on McGrath. Here's what the police say. You've got 4 hours or whatever the hell, 6 hours, 8 hours, however long he had. It might seem like nothing for a 2-minute segment till you realize he had to gather all this information. The point is, I'm being hard on him because it's important to get this right, and it's important that you understand what it looks like when it's gotten wrong. But that's not to say he's a bad reporter. Who's a famous football guy? I'm sure Dan Marino fumbled plenty of times. Dating myself there. Doesn't mean he's a bad reporter, but that was badly done right here. Anyway, the point is, don't just leave it. Well, you shouldn't. If you hear your local folks just leave it alone at a thing happened, and on the other side of it, or the police entered a building, and so did the suspect. Then a thing happened, and on the other side, the police walked away, and the suspect was dead. Anyway, that's the end of the case. Not acceptable. He does have an additional detail, though, that I didn't read that I didn't see in the other articles.
Now, his attorney, Joe Murtha, is confirming that he died after that shooting, telling us, quote, the loss of Roy's life was...
Died after that shooting. Come on. What you should be listening for is at least them acknowledging that they asked the FBI, okay, how did he die? And that they refused to say. Which I'm sure they didn't do. So they can't say that here.
It's a terrible tragedy, and I think it's important for me to say on his behalf, he never wavered on his innocence. McGrath has been a wanted fugitive for the past 3 weeks. Federal prosecutors contend that he misled officials at the Maryland Environmental Service, where he served as executive director, by implying former Governor Larry Hogan supported paying him $233,000 in severance to become Hogan's chief of staff. Now, Hogan denied approving that severance, and McGrath resigned as chief of staff in August 2020. He faced fraud and theft charges relating to that payout. Now, just within the last few minutes, we are hearing from former Governor Hogan about McGrath's death. He tells us, quote, "Yumi and I are deeply saddened by this tragic situation. We're praying for Mr. McGrath's family and loved ones." Now, there are still several questions surrounding McGrath's death, such as what led agents to his location and just the circumstances surrounding his death. But of course, we are working to learn more information about that. And of course, when we get that information, we will bring that to you on air and online at WBALTV.com.
Yeah, so I didn't know that the governor already gave a statement. Quick. And I was glad to hear that they at least, I mean, they didn't come out and I guess jump on it with both feet, but he acknowledged there's questions remaining. Why did they kill? Did you see that Poindexter? Was he really that much of a danger? Here's the thing. This is not a what you can do, because I'm not fully confident that it's the right thing to do. I just want to be clear. And by the way, if you're the group I'm about to address, just understand that I'm acknowledging that it's shocking that I would have the balls to suggest this. So feel free just to give it a hearty no thanks, Jake. Nice try, but no thanks. But hear it out. You're a Black Lives Matter protester. Like me, for example. You've gone out to those protests. I might consider organizing a protest for this man. Was this guy a good guy? Nope. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like a straight up criminal. Seems like a genuinely bad human being. Is it a great loss to the world? I have no idea. But what is the point? What's the purpose of the Black Lives Matter protests? Is it that black lives are special above other lives? No. It's that black lives matter as well. It's that black lives are unnaturally endangered in the United States for no damn reason. That's the core of it. What is the racist response to the Black Lives Matter protests? The phrase, all lives matter. Here's a little curious thing. It wiggled into my mind. Can't let it go. What bridge building could be done if the Black Lives Matter organizers got behind this shooting death? We don't have, for the records, we don't have the full details yet. This guy could have. It's why I'm hanging on this so much. He could have been armed. You know, these GOP folks, they're a dangerous group. They tend to carry guns, and they're irresponsible with them, as long as we're pushing cruel narratives. But no, he could have been armed. He could have fired at the FBI. I'm sure we would have heard about it if that was the case. I suspect we've got a couple of trigger-happy agents really going over in their heads how they can piece together events in such a way that they come out looking like they didn't just execute a nerd. But if it comes out, the details come out that this killing didn't have to happen, not for the benefit of this guy, not for the benefit of white people mistreated. I think there would be benefit in Black Lives Matter protesters going out wearing the Black Lives Matter gear, the shirts, carrying the signs even, and protesting over this guy's death. Why? Why? To show a group of people that were so sure they knew what this was all about, and were wrong, by the way, what it is really all about. To show them the principle behind the action. The point is not to get justice for this guy. The point, just like the point wasn't really to get justice for George Floyd. Both of them are dead. There's no justice to be had for him. That's a bitter fact of life. The point of protesting for this dead, white, former Republican would be the same as the purpose of protesting for George Floyd. It's to stop another needless killing of a black man or woman. Really to stop needless killings in general. But I think protests over this guy's killing, particularly because it shares a lot of the exterior similarities as any other casual police killing, could win people over to the side of Black Lives Matter. People who are either on the fence or who simply assumed they knew what it was about. Will it win them over altogether all at once? No, I don't think so. But it will give a ton of people pause to say, maybe I got that wrong. Because I would have thought these people would be celebrating in the streets. Maybe I should re-examine what that movement was all about. It gives us a chance to have the work that was already done re-examined. Worth thinking about. Oh, dawned on me, and attacks on education. Boy, Mars Falcon. Just coincidence. I knew a guy that fell off a 70-foot building, then died shortly after. Good God. Many suspect it could have been COVID, maybe a heart attack. Perhaps it was just cyanide poisoning. Good Lord. He was shot at the... dawned on me, said they read a police report and then reported as fact. Yeah, it's a bad habit. Mars Falcon says he was shot at the exact moment that the infection caused by the splinter he got 2 days ago fomented a stroke. Happens all the time if you believe what you read in a police report. Yeah, good Lord. Wicked Foxy Dragon says, Jake, my dog is talking to you again. Hello, Zoe. Who's a good girl? You're a good girl, Zoe. Yes, you are. Mars Falcon, at the very least, demanding an investigation into the assassination of another citizen. Yeah. One of the things that is difficult to get used to at first, I think, in political organizing, is getting rid of your distaste for people and groups you have traditionally been in opposition to. But once you're able to do that, there's this amazing feeling of being able to gang up easily on problems. Once you're like, okay, yeah, I'll fight shoulder to shoulder with this godless Nazi to beat back this demon invasion, and then, as soon as we close that hellmouth, and turn around and fight the Nazi too. But like, there is certainly a path forward. Like, we have so many ridiculous problems in this country. It's just there's like an infinite number of groups that we can appeal to and make a case for, and occasionally have just do like a surprise WrestleMania tag team event with. That got weird. Look, I'm goofy in the mornings. All right. We got just one little bit. This is almost Salty Saturday stuff. I mean, we're right on the line, folks. This one should be, if I'm being honest with you, this one should be a proper Wicked episode where I come up with a plan of what to do and yada, yada, yada. I'll be real, though. I just stopped about halfway through what I was doing because I was getting ready for the later show. I just don't know. I'll take advice on this because I'll take advice on everything, but Donald Trump's kids are the ones causing trouble in this next story. And I genuinely do not know if it is even the judge's place to shut him up. So they got to be shut up. We've got to stop them from threatening law enforcement, certainly. And by the way, we should go grab the insufferable people who have thin blue line shirts on and badges and say, okay, you believe that. But I honestly don't know where to direct people because the situation is this. Donald Trump's kids are threatening the judge's family in the case that Donald Trump just got arraigned for. Here's Knockabout Pete talking about it. Probably was a little too quick taking those off. Here's Knockabout Pete talking about it.
I'm Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch Network. As Donald Trump was being criminally arraigned in Manhattan court, and at essentially the exact same time as the judge was admonishing him about his posts where he's threatening people, threatening the district attorney, and threatening the judge, Don Jr., Eric Trump, and Marjorie Taylor Greene were threatening Judge Juan Merchan, the judge who presides over Donald Trump's criminal case. They were threatening Judge Juan Merchan's daughter. That's right, you heard me, threatening Judge Juan Merchan's daughter. Now, their tactic, their stochastic terroristic tactic, is to attack family members of people that they target. And so, for example, with Special Counsel Jack Smith, they've attacked Special Counsel Jack Smith's wife. When it comes to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, they've attacked Alvin Bragg's wife. They put her name out publicly. I'm not going to show those posts where they put her name, but they put Alvin Bragg's wife's name out there publicly, knowing their cult followers on the cult social media platform will terrorize these individuals and threaten them. That's the point. And as Judge Juan Merchan, at the exact moment, was admonishing Donald Trump about his posts threatening people, you had Eric Trump, Don Jr., Marjorie Taylor Greene posting photographs of Judge Juan Merchan's daughter. We are going to completely redact the photos and any reference to Judge Juan Merchan's daughter's name, but I do want to show you these posts. Before showing you these posts, though, I want to show you the inside account from a reporter at CNN who talked about the judge admonishment about these threatening posts being made by Donald Trump. Play the clip.
And to Trump, the judge said that he was not going to impose any kind of gag order. He said he wouldn't, even if he was asked right now, but he did warn the former president and also the prosecutors to warn their witnesses to tamp down their rhetoric, to reduce what they were saying about the case. And the judge warned both sides, but particularly speaking to former President Trump, not to make any statements that would incite any violence or threats against any officials.
So you see there, as I expected, there was no gag order that was issued, but what the judge basically was saying is that for now, no gag order, but I'm warning you about making future posts like this. And as the judge was saying this, here is a post from Donald Trump Jr. He posts a photograph of Judge Juan Merchan's daughter and says, "Seems relevant, yet another connection in this hand-picked Democrat show trial. The BS never ends, folks. Daughter of judge on Trump case worked on Biden-Harris campaign," and it is a photo of the judge's daughter. As George Conway way, says Don Jr., like his father, is scum. And I could not agree more. And look, it's all coordinated. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Marjorie Taylor Greene says, you can't even make up how corrupt this witch hunt is. And it is a post of Judge Juan Merchan and Judge Juan Merchan's daughter. We are going to redact that. And Eric Trump also posts, daughter of judge overseeing Trump's case, worked for Kamala Harris campaign, now serves as president of company that has Biden-Harris campaign as client. And it is a...
Good Lord. I thought they got to that just a wee bit earlier. All right, so we cannot... Let's just start with the obvious. We can't have a judge's family being threatened. Can't have it. On the other hand, that judge in particular doesn't have authority over the whole country. That judge has authority over the people in their court. So that judge can't say, to my knowledge, and by the way, if I'm wrong, please tell me, because I've trying to find out this fact has been a B and a half. But to my knowledge, that judge can't say, gag order, Marjorie Taylor Greene, gag order, Donald Trump Jr.'s kids. These aren't Donald Trump. Excuse me, Donald Trump's kids. Because these people aren't Donald Trump. Also, I don't want to live in a country where you can't say anything bad about a judge, particularly if you think they're corrupt. But I definitely don't want to live in a country where you can just threaten judges. That's effed up, man. So, we are going to have to do something in the long term, structurally, to take care of this. We're going to have to advocate for, if there aren't rules already, rule changes, for God's sake. That said, there's no way this doesn't bite Trump in the butt. There's no way. Does this, I mean, this is the judge's daughter we are talking about. I can't fathom that the judge is going to let it go, and they shouldn't.
Photo of judge.
Let's let Knock Him Out Pete keep going. I'm sure he's going to bring it home.
Juan Merchan's daughter. And this is what Donald Trump had previously posted, the threat about Judge Juan Merchan. Trump wrote, the judge, quote, assigned to my witch hunt case, a case that has never been charged before, hates me. His name is Juan Manuel Merchan, was handpicked by Bragg and the prosecutors, and is the same person who, quote, railroaded my 75-year-old former CFO Alan Weisselberg to take a plea deal, plead guilty, even if you are not 90 days, 90 days, fight us in court, 10 years life in jail. He strong-armed Allen, which a judge is not allowed to do, and treated my companies, which did not plead viciously, appealing. So what he's referring to, though, Judge Juan Merchan was the judge who presided over the case, the felony case against the Trump Organization, where the Trump Organization and the Trump payroll organization was convicted on 17 felony counts for their tax schemes that they were involved in. The jury absolutely hated the Trump Organization, hated the lawyers for the Trump Organization, hated the lying witnesses for the Trump Organization, and it was a jury that very quickly, in 9 hours, found the Trump Organization guilty on all 17 felony counts. By the way, Alan Weisselberg entering into the plea deal was probably the best thing Weisselberg could have done at that moment, because if he went on trial like the Trump Organization, he would have lost, and he would have been sentenced for far longer than he ultimately was in Rikers Island, where he is still at now.
For the record, I don't think Rikers Island should even be in existence based on what I have seen of that particular jail. But if somebody's got to be there, let it be Donald Trump's henchman or Donald Trump himself. I'm just that petty.
And as Donald Trump continues to make these threats, people in his orbit justify it, and it is absolutely disgusting here. This was outside the courtroom. So after Donald Trump's arraignment, these are his lawyers, and here's Joe Tacopina, who's made an absolute fool of himself, as all Donald Trump's lawyers have.
Before we get to this, I'm going to just do a little admission to you. The first time I saw Joe Tacopina on television, I thought, oh, this guy is going to be effective. Because his attitude was such that I was like, oh yeah, he's going to. And then he got about 2 sentences in, and I was like, oh no, never mind. He's just a young Giuliani. Great. I don't know what happens with Tacopina, but it's like he's finding out how corrupt Trump is as he's being asked questions about Trump. It's like he didn't bother to check who his client is. It's wild.
Basically denying and gaslighting the public about what took place. And Tacopina, is saying here, trying to defend Donald Trump's horrific post that he's making. Play this clip.
Messages. We are here to talk about the case and litigate cases. We can't address what he posts or what he wants to post or did post.
But as his attorneys, have you told him to stop posting this rhetoric,
so
these
what
messages
I said
about
before
the judge?
was we can't, literally, we can't tell you what we've discussed with our
I
client.
understand,
So
but are
that's the
you
answer.
concerned that he's continuing to
Not
go
concerned
after
at
the
all.
judge, talking about the judge's wife, talking about the family? I don't think the judge
was concerned about it.
Yeah, but any other defendant, wouldn't you be like...
Any other defendant wouldn't be here today.
He's not going after the judge. He is not going after the judge. He commented that he thought that there were some issues that may cause a conflict. That's not going after the judge. He is not threatening the judge. He is not going after the judge.
He's going after the
DA. He has said that the DA, he is angry because the DA has brought a case that is unjustified. And so I'm not going to comment on it. You may disagree with the way he spoke, but he is angry.
Can you talk about the process? Was he fingerprinted? Was there a mugshot?
I'm not going to talk about it.
Was there a mugshot?
In fact, I think thank you for your attention.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp. That's
I don't love that they started doing the commercials in the middle. Oh, come on, y'all.
And then here's another clip of Tacopina where Tacopina, again, more gaslighting, saying, oh, Donald Trump wasn't even swinging a baseball bat.
We've heard this by this point. All right, I was hoping he went into the kids a little bit more. Not entirely sure how to handle this one. There will be a plan, but it's got to be reality based. And I'll be real with you. It's very likely just to come down to making sure we have the people in power in 2024 who can do something about this. And until we have that, how to endure until then, how to look out for this judge and their family. And I gotta say, you know what? Let's go out for a second. And I gotta say, we don't know that the judge isn't going to respond today. That's possible. In fact, I hope that is what happens. But it should tell us a lot how much the worst amongst us, the absolute worst human beings in America, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump Jr., and his whole damn family. I've withdrawn. Mary Trump's all right. What the hell? The one he hates as well, maybe. Tiffany? Yeah. But it should tell us a lot how much they're scrambling to hate on this judge and try to scare this judge and make this judge a target. I don't honestly think that their goal is to scare this judge. I mean, they are Sure, they're trying to do their normal scumbag stuff, but I don't think their goal is to sway the judge. I think their goal is to sway their supporters, the people who are fanatically behind them. They are trying to make their supporters an enemy of the judge and of anybody who would support the judge in any way. And that's the part of it that gives me pause when talking about what we should do. Because if what we come up with is the best plan to, say, defeat the supporters of Donald Trump, the people who are actually the target of this campaign that's going on, okay, we may be successful. But we've been doing that. And that's been the main strategy over and over. And you know what? If it ends up being all we can do, it's an acceptable way to go. But I suspect we are missing an easier, more effective strategy, which is showing these people for what they are when they do this stuff. A thought occurred to me, and we should be taking advantage of it. Why were there less protesters this time around, post January 6th? Why is Trump's rhetoric not working as well? Look, part of it, sure, it's just the stakes. January 6th, there was more time to build up. Yeah, but Trump always says they got to get through me to get to you. What were they saying this time? If they can come after me, they can come after you. Well, think about how that sounds if you are dyed-in-the-wool MAGA. Think about how that sounds. Guess what? They already went through MAGA to get to Trump, not the other way around. There's people hearing Trump's message. If they can come after me, they can come after you. And they're looking at the people in prison for Trump for the last time he asked people to come out. And they're thinking, well, what? They can come after us. They did come after us. By the way, you didn't pardon these people. You're going to be so GD corrupt. Why couldn't you pardon these people? Is it every one of them? No, of course not. But their support erodes grains at a time. That's a lot of grains. So now they're trying to make the judge look like the bad guy because I think they're being realistic about, in their own way, about their odds in this trial. They want to politicize it, and they want to make the judge one of MAGA's many enemies. Okay. We'll get back to this topic after we look at how the judge reacts to this, after we look at how lawmakers, maybe even the DOJ, reacts to this. But I think the solution on our end is going to be to judo this motherfucker and use it as an opportunity to show what MAGA is really all about to MAGA. We'll get into it. But that is what's going on in America today. There's a ton more as well. We're going to have such a fun day, man. I hope I'll see y'all at 8 o'clock because we've got great news in Chicago. We've got a fascinating indictment to read. Let's read some comments. Speaking of, Dawned on Me says, these people are horrible people. Cruelty is the point. It surely is. Yes, indeed. Mars Falcon, I want to know where the manly man, alpha male, right-wingers, I want to know where are going to handle the Trumpettes threatening a girl. Truly. And by the way, that is the kind of criticism we should be offering. Like, when you have a certain set of moralities. You tend to try to appeal to those moralities no matter who you're talking to. But what you've just pointed out there is very much the right way to go about it. Not that you have to think, a girl should be treated differently than this or that. But you know that they who do the stereotypical man's man, I've got that door for you, honey. By the way, you should hold the door for everybody. But I've got that door for you, honey. Go on in, slap on the rump. That person should feel shame by their own morality for how these people are acting. Shame them with that. And you say, if only they could feel shame. True. Instill that in them. First install the software update, then run the program. Foxy Dragon, who is just full of surprises, says 18 U.S. Code 373, solicitation to commit a crime of violence. Interesting. Makes it a felony to whoever, with intent that another person engage in, engage in conduct constituting a felony that has an element, the use, the attempted use, or threatened use of physical force against property or against the person of another in violation of the laws of the United States. Interesting. There's a thin line between soliciting violence in retaliation and speaking about questionable behavior of a judge or prosecutor. Interesting. All right. That's food for thought. Mars Falcon, a case that has never been charged before. Does he mean nobody has ever been charged with falsifying records, or does he mean if he can only be charged with things he's been charged with before? I don't know. This man, it makes no damn sense. Wicked Foxy Dragon says solicitation can be enforced even if it doesn't produce a violent act, just the act of trying to get someone to do it. Incitement is enforceable only if the act of violence happens. Interesting. Okay. Maybe there is slightly more direct things we can do. Well, we're gonna tear into it. Certainly in a future segment, in a near future segment, and in the show later today, we're going to be talking about developments in Chicago. We're going to be talking about the implications of Wisconsin and how we can take advantage of this this massive win. I mean, it changes strategy throughout the country, truly. Hell of a job, Wisconsin. You should feel proud. We're going to be talking about the, per Foxy's suggestion, the developments from yesterday and the statement of facts relating to the hush money payments. We saw Matt Binder last night went through it as well in a just a delightful stream. And a couple of other news items from around the country that just happened and are ripe for plucking with the opportunities. But until then, this has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for what you can do. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. My name's Jake.